What's poppin'? Are you someone that just wants to know every single bit of something new in Fortnite? Yeah, me too. And thankfully I have a lot of time to test out basically anything that I want, and there's a lot of stuff for these sliding mechanics which you have to know. This one is for BR players, so you can actually dominate opponents, and for creative players which basically have to know these mechanics as well to create the best mechanics in the games for BR players. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump in with the facts about sliding. The first fact, and that is actually that you can only slide 2 tiles on maximum running speed by just running. Okay, we're just talking about running here. This doesn't include any slopes or steeps, just the straight. You can only slide 2 tiles. Also very interesting that the ground doesn't matter at all. There's one exception to this, which you might have guessed is ice. On ice, on the other hand, you can slide as long as you're on the ice, so you can actually slide forever if you want to. But is sliding actually faster than just running? So does it even make sense to slide on the ground? And there's actually a pretty interesting thing. So you can see here that running 2 tiles takes about 1.86 seconds. And if we slide those tiles, you can see that it actually takes longer. And even if I start to slide late, you can see that it's still slower than just running. But there's one thing where sliding absolutely shines, and it is anything downhill. Not only does it look insanely cool, but you can also gain up to insane speeds which are not possible when running. Don't worry, you don't have to build all the way to the skybox to create the maximum sliding speed. Actually, you can gain the maximum sliding speed by having just 5 tiles in a downhill slope. You just need 5 tiles to reach the maximum speed. So you can see here, if we slide down this downhill slope, you can see that we can actually now reach up to 3 tiles in the sliding on the ground. Also, what you can now see is that by running the 3 tiles now, it takes about 2.8 seconds to run there. But if we do this with the maximum sliding speed, you can see we're a lot faster on the other side. It's almost 1 second time save. As I already said, the only ground that can make you slide further is actually the ice. But there's also some traps which are maybe only creative related, but also maybe could come back to BR. One of them is the chiller, which also allows you to slide a little bit further, since you kind of have the same ice motion there. What you cannot do is run into any kind of speed boost or bouncers to actually make you slide further, because they will immediately break up the slide. For Fortnite creators, there are actually 2 items which will help your players slide a lot further, and that is the speed module. So if you run over that, put that to maximum speed, you can actually slide a lot further and also gain the maximum speed there. And also the grind power-up can basically allow you to slide forever if you want to. Okay, coming up to the second part of the sliding, and it's actually equally important to BR players and creative players, and that is, how big of a gap can there be until I cannot slide through anymore?
What did he say?
There's a very easy way in how you can find out if your gap is big enough or not. And you only need to use the brick wall, and you can see there is 2 little gaps over here. And the second gap is the one that we are caring for. So if the object that you want to slide through is aligned with this gap, exactly this line over here, you can easily slide through. So you can see here, very easy one side and very easy from the other side. If for whatever reason the gap is aligned with a bottom brick here, you cannot slide through anymore. So if you're in creative, there's actually one thing which is in between this both, and that is this one over here. So this one you can actually also slide through, but sometimes if you have a messed up timing with your slide, you can actually hit the head on the ledge here, and then it will break up the sliding. So the more safer way is obviously going with the gap here. It's easier to remember, and it is the much safer one because you will never basically hit your head. Or if you really wanted to, you can actually use this edit over here, which is the minimum you need for sliding. So you can see here, this is the perfect height for sliding, and it just fits perfect. So with that knowledge, you can now start building slide only mechanics. For example, you can use the mutator zone, and we also remember that we can only slide 2 tiles if we're running. So all we have to do is just run, slide through, and we are easy good to go with the sliding mechanic here. So here's a pretty cool way in how I use the slide only mechanic. For example, we have to slide through this like little gas pit, you can say, to not get damaged. You can see as soon as we touch this gas, we get damaged, and obviously we don't want that. So the thing that we have to do is obviously slide all the way through, and we're safe and do not get any damage. And this is basically how you build this, obviously using the mutator zone. And then in the mutator zone, we're going to use the option to on player entering. So make sure as soon as someone goes into the mutator zone, it recognizes that, and then we can send a signal, for example, to the health power up, where we can adjust the health, have it decrease, have whatever you want to do in here. And then the last thing for the gas, I just used one of the particles from the particle galleries, made it apple green, very slow, and just looks like gas. Looks really cool, but just be creative, have fun with this, and I think you can create some really, really cool stuff with that. And if you always want to be on pace with anything new to Fortnite and Fortnite Creative, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the Richie Tunes in the item shop. And I will see you guys back in the next one, and bye.